today's class is going to be on homework, as homework fits into the formative assessment process. Right now, I'd like you to work with the people at your table to read through this list of assignments and just kind of discuss what you think the educational purpose is of each one of those. Okay, we're only going to spend about 3 minutes on this, so you can just quickly talk to the person with you.
So flashcards on my drill, so yeah, to drill and master like conversations, memorize like specific information. In this case, multiplications.
Learning facts.
Page 36, 2 to 36, even practice for that. Again, just one specific concept, practicing it, and then checking later to see if it's right. If they're even, probably not right away, because usually comments come back. So, and the teacher, I guess, can.
The teacher will probably use them in class.
Okay, I think we're in class, yeah.
What is the connection?
So reading chapter 3 is preparing for your next class. So the first ones were more review or something you already should know.
And this is
Pre-work is pre-work. Like you need, in order to participate, you need to
Read that, yeah.
have read that, but they didn't want to take the class time to do it. Defining the vocabulary is kind of the same way. Preparing.
right. You'll eventually use that in class, so you know what it is before you use it.
Right. Or you have been using it, depending on when you give it.
Right.
And the last part is
Identifying parts of speech.
focusing on that one skill.
Yeah, mastery of grammar skill.
Okay, I'm going to stop you guys there. It sounds like there was some good conversation. Quickly, let's just kind of go through these and see what your thoughts are. Minute drill, multiplication, flashcards. What would be that educational purpose? Math expert, what would you say?
Remediation or memorizing a specific skill that's needed for other things.
Okay, perhaps fluency, just trying to practice something, but the key there, they probably already know it, it's just practice. All right, page out of the textbook, what would be our purpose there?
Just check in to see if they learned what you taught in class that day.
Okay,
Practice a skill.
so
Yeah.
practice a new skill. Reading chapter 3 in English, I heard you guys having some good conversation about that.
That is preparing for work in the future.
Okay, all right, so probably in preparation for the class the next day. Defining a list of vocabulary words,
More pre-work.
pre-work.
Comprehension as well, just to make sure that they understand what they're reading as well.
Okay,
They have
so
read.
so interesting here. Are they defining it because you've just given them the list of words and they're coming up with the definitions, or is it they're copying the definitions out of the book, which might be the pre-work for the next class? Identifying the parts of speech worksheet. I heard you say something for that
It's
one.
practicing, it's learning and mastering a specific skill.
Mastering a specific skill. All right, social studies table over there, experts. What do you guys have for labeling the landforms on a map?
Can help them know, just awareness-wise of where things are located, you know, with our globe.
Okay.
Could also be a connection between the next assignment and the landforms, and that one of the causes of the Revolutionary War and how the landforms influenced the war.
Wow, I didn't even know that was a connection, but there we go.
Because the Revolutionary War were British soldiers coming over to our land.
Okay,
And
so this
so
could
how
be
does-
filling in what they already know in order to prepare for where they're going.
I mean, that's what each of these, like even that English assignment,
Mhm.
reading chapter 3, if those vocabulary words came out of chapter 3, there's a connection between, you know,
Okay.
those vocabulary words in chapter 3, but so that was where we went with the social studies.
And science, does that sound like something you guys might assign, to read something and answer some questions?
For me personally, the reading would actually be a reread. We would have already done it with a partner assignment class, a reread to be able to successfully answer the questions.
Ah, okay.
And with
All
me,
right.
it would be a pre-read.
And a pre-read.
I would do that before we taught the lesson, so they're coming in with some knowledge base of what we're discussing.
Okay, so here are a couple different assignments from all different areas. Let's talk about now how this fits into our objective for today. You will all be able to create an assignment that can be used as formative assessment. And in order to do that, we're going to analyze some different homework assignments to see what characteristics make it formative assessment and which do not. So, formative assessment, just to refresh your memory on that, the goal is to monitor student learning so that you as the teacher have an idea of, are students getting what you've taught them, what pieces aren't they getting, but it also helps give feedback to the students so they know their own strengths and weaknesses as well. Some examples that you might see in a class would be like draw a concept map so the kids can represent their understanding of a topic. They might write 1 or 2 sentences identifying the main point of a lecture. These kind of sound like exit ticket type, exit slip activities. The formative assessment cycle. You start your planning with an objective, the goal, your standard, whatever. You provide targeted instruction with that objective, and then you assess their performance on that standard. But the key to the cycle here is then that you use that data, you respond to it somehow. So perhaps you gave an assignment on subtracting fractions. The kids did really, really well, they understand it until they got to the question that required regrouping. That's where the kids fell short. You might, as a teacher using the formative assessment cycle, write a new objective saying we're going to focus just on subtraction with regrouping. Now you'll give targeted instruction on that, assess that piece, and then use that to inform more decisions. You're doing the landforms. If the kids can't identify the landforms, you're going to have a new objective now. We need to teach those landforms. They didn't know where they were on the map. So again, we want to be able to create an assignment that can be used as formative assessment. That's our goal. So let's look at these assignments again. And now I want you to talk to your partner and say, are they formative or not? Are they a formative assessment? If not, why not? Okay? And we're going to spend 3 minutes on this.
The natural flashcards are not, because there's no way to tell.
Yeah.
There's no way to assess them on that unless you do like win and out
Yeah.
test.
The second one is.
Yes, the
Because
second one
if they can
definitely
do
is.
it,
They did it or they didn't do it.
Yeah. Read chapter 3.
No.
There's nothing, yeah.
Defining vocabulary, no, I don't really, no.
If it was
that's
homework, you don't know how they got it. You
Right,
don't
well, if
know.
it was do it in their own words, then that shows mastery.
Right.
But if it was
It's
just
maybe
copying out the
bottom
book,
one.
then.
The third one I would say is
Yes.
for ELA,
You
for sure.
could definitely assess.
And be my plan.
Label the landforms on a map is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They,
Because they-
I mean,
they get the
again,
skill.
that would be more like, to be honest, in class. Like
But
going
it's-
home, you should have
It's still a skill though, so yes, that's, write a short,
essay, that's definitely.
yes. And yes on the science because of the questions.
Right, if they got the
It
question right,
helps
if
show
they
their
got this,
understanding of the
I
worksheet,
guess
they
the
have the
landforms-
knowledge.
I mean, it wouldn't be the way I would
Think
do
of
it,
what I
but
said.
it
The
certainly does.
landforms in the
Well, that's why I said before that it would be a reread for me, and then because
Would
the
be a good way to
questions come
connect
after,
them though.
kids read, we read
Connecting
together, we go
language,
over
you have
the
to know
content,
landforms,
and
so
then
there's your formative
I make them
and
answer
then-
the question.
How you could break into
And you
it.
say add the formative assessment,
Identify-
so most of those are.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. I know it's a little less than 3 minutes, but it sounded like most people got through those. Multiplication flashcards, is that formative?
No,
Why not?
you can't prove that they learned something. There's nothing to.
There's no tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no
You
assessment.
have
What
to
are you
give an
assessing?
actual, like, a multiplication quiz, or have them do it in front of you in order to actually tell
And
them.
again, remember, when we go back to that cycle, you also have to respond to the data somehow for it to really be formative assessment. So if the kid did poorly on their sixes tables, are you really going to do something about that? Or is this just ongoing practice?
Right.
This is probably your response to seeing it somewhere else, is the ongoing practice.
So this might be that targeted instruction. You've already given the kids an objective to increase their fluency, so that might be part of your targeted instruction. Practice with Pythagorean theorem?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you could definitely assess it and make some changes. Jumping to the social studies one, you guys were saying some interesting stuff about that. Label the landforms on a map. Do we think that's formative assessment or not?
Yes,
Why?
because it shows that they learn the skill, they know which the landforms are and where to put them.
Okay, key to that, they know the skill. Remember, when we start with the cycle, we're starting with the objective. What do you think the objective is if they're labeling the landforms? Identify where they are. So it's a very low level knowledge, they're just putting us. So if that truly is your objective, then filling in that map, labeling them on the landform would meet the objective. If the objective is what you were saying about making the connection to the Revolutionary War, then just the fact that they labeled them is not really formative assessment, because you're not really assessing the objective there. That's just a piece of it. That's just something that's required for them to do.
So
I also would say something as easy as labeling would not be a great formative assessment if done at home.
Why?
Because at home, they could pull out a resource, they could call a friend. And I mean, yeah, you could do that with anything, but especially something as low level as identify, it's really easy to be able to copy something and not really get it. But if they're doing that in class as a warm-up, you can ensure the environment that they're not just pulling out the book and copying.
That is truly
on
their
that.
knowledge, that you're truly
Yeah.
assessing their ability. Excellent. So, we can now create an assignment that is formative assessment because we understand the components of a formative assessment assignment.